And actually, I find that quite hard to say in a way that doesn't sound elitist, patronising, or simply nosy. It's a bit like me saying to Nancy, I can't help with the washing up this evening because I've got a sermon to write. And it's a kind of statement, a kind of either-or statement, that if we don't quite take it on board, it promotes the not uncommon idea that someone who is actually fluent in words and ideas doesn't have to be practical and get their hands dirty. And at the same time, it also promotes the other kind of duality that says that someone who is quite happy and good at doing practical things doesn't have to have their critical head about new ideas and book learning. And there's a false sort of pigeonholing that we can take away from that statement that allows preachers to exploit to get out of domestic chores, but also allows the more practically minded to get out and doing Bible study and exploring new ideas. Now, Acts 6 has got some very useful things to teach us about clarity and who does what and making sure that things get done. But we mustn't slip into drawing the wrong lessons from it. You see, it might make us think that the 12 who devote themselves to prayer and to serving the word are somehow operating at a more important level than those who are handling the social care and food distribution. Now, it's true, absolutely true and wonderful that our Acts 6 reading finishes with the statement that the word of God continued to spread and the number of disciples grew. That's wonderful. But unfortunately, the reading stops there for our purposes today. And what goes on to happen? It says that Stephen, in particular, of those who are appointed to work with the food distribution, signs and wonders, great works were done by Stephen among the people. And Stephen, who is personally engaged in this practical work, is out and about and visible, expressing grace and down-to-earth power in the midst of ordinary life. And great things were happening there as well as what was happening from the preaching of the word. And in fact, as we heard this morning at the Bartholomew spot, the work of Mary's with the young people is an area where the church is involved in working down to earth in the everyday amongst people. And frankly, it's not unlikely in the months ahead the church is going to be working in a much more down to earth way as the cost of living crisis continues to take hold. Great wonders and signs were done by Stephen, it says, working among the people. And it's significant, perhaps, that those who regard waiting at tables, doing practical service work, might be the less challenging and safer option. It's actually significant that the first people who were singled out for persecution, the first person singled out for persecution by opponents of the gospel, is Stephen, working there at the leading edge of working among the people. Being practical doesn't necessarily put you out of the firing line for criticism. Now, I'm drawing attention to Stephen in this way because this sermon is part of a series on generosity. And generosity involves giving excessively without setting limits. And it's not only about money and time, but of course give about those things, but it's about giving oneself sacrificially without regard to comfort or convenience. It's giving oneself wholeheartedly to service, even at the risk of one's own safety. Well, I want to focus a bit on the consequences of giving oneself wholeheartedly to acts of service, whether it's the sort of service that's obviously practical and down to earth, like food distribution, or whether it's the more theoretical kind of service, which is, yes, preaching and teaching the word and helping others to grow deeply and in their long-term development of faith. And if we're going to open up this idea of generosity being wholeheartedly being involved in something, then this is a good point for us to turn to our other passage, the Beatitudes, and consider exactly how generosity is manifested in the particular attitudes and attributes that Jesus named as being blessed. I'm going to start the Beatitudes with the last one, because that's the one about blessed are you if you are persecuted. And the idea of persecution links straight into the story of Stephen, which I've only sketched. As I say, we don't know what kind of signs and wonders Stephen was doing, but we do know that his works aroused the opposition of various forces in Jerusalem. And the point that I want to bring out is that when opposition appeared, Stephen didn't, as it were, play it safe by toning it down a bit and keeping a low profile. He could have been cautious when he realised that his actions were upsetting influential people. He could have said, well, I'm doing good work amongst the people. Best if I just keep quiet for a bit till the critics lose interest. But he didn't do that. When his accusers accused him, he engaged with him, he defended himself, and he argued powerfully, he argued powerfully against his accusers, and that led to them bringing back false charges against him, led to him being martyred in the end. That's what happened. He didn't pull back, he just followed through, you could say generously, to the full consequences of his action and his faith. If we can move backwards up the Beatitudes, the seventh Beatitude is the one about the peacemakers. Peacemakers. And again, I want to stress that the blessing for the peacemakers isn't for those who, like most of us, actually quite like the idea of peace or who disapprove of conflict. Peacemakers are those who actually step in and get involved in trying to resolve disagreements between others. In fact, it's interesting, in Acts chapter 6, Stephen and the others are put in charge of the food distribution because there was a quarrel and a conflict between the Greek or the Gentile believers and the Jewish believers. One group thought the others were getting more food. There was a quarrel. And Stephen's job, along with the other 6 named people, is to bring peace to that situation. But to be a peacemaker, you have to get in amongst the arguments. And in fact, the mediators shouldn't really expect to get immediate gratification from either side. That's why minding one's own business often seems like common sense. But peacemaking, real peacemaking, whether it's at an international level, which really doesn't likely to involve any of us, or at a very domestic and social level, peacemaking can be risky, and it calls for unselfishness, it calls for generosity. Let's look at some of the other Beatitudes. What about hungering and thirsting for righteousness? There's something very wholehearted about that. Being hungry and thirsty isn't about feeling a bit peckish or fancying a taste of something. If you're hungry and thirsty, you take purposeful action to get what's lacking. And if it's righteousness that's lacking, maybe you've got to take purposeful action to uncover a truth, to cause yourself to admit to a truth. Take action to combat injustice. Take action really to discern and reveal God's will in some situation. It's purposeful, it's active. Remember the parable in Luke 18 where Jesus commends the persistence of the widow who keeps pestering a judge night and day to get her grievance dealt with. Being hungry and thirsty for righteousness means keeping at whatever it needs to be done in some particular instance to bring righteousness into being. Similarly, being merciful is more than just letting somebody off the hook if they wrong us. goes much further than that, as when Paul says, if your enemy is hungry, give him food, and if he is thirsty, give him a drink. It's going far more than the extra mile. That's generosity. It's when you give somebody who's wronged you what they need. I was actually a bit surprised as a thing in brackets. I always thought that Romans 12, where Paul says that was a specifically Christian sentiment, but actually it's a quote from the Old Testament, Proverbs 25. So it's a well-established idea, giving your enemy food. Again, wholeheartedness. Wholeheartedness is there in the Beatitude about mourning. When the Beatitudes speak of those who mourn, it isn't about people who are a bit sad about something. Mourning is when you're really consumed with grief, whether that's your own loss or being alongside somebody else. It's generously entering into that emotion, that sorrow. And it's the same really for all of the Beatitudes. Where does generosity come in being pure in heart? I had to think a bit about that, but a surprising answer occurred to me, and I'll try this on you. Being pure in heart has within it, I think, an element of generosity towards God, because it's about us being wholly willing to let go of all those thoughts that we can distract ourselves with when we could be listening to God. Being pure in heart, it involves, for example, giving up the tendency to indulge in those little resentments that can run through our minds when we've got nothing else to do, when we can feel grudging about something that's happened. Or it can be a generous willingness to let go of those scenarios that we rehearse, where we actually organise events and people to produce some outcome that we want. Our hearts and our minds can really run round and round fairly pointless and not particularly edifying tracks. And if we're generously willing to surrender those things, which are actually quite fun, and give the time to God, that's an aspect of purity of heart. And it works a bit too with being poor in spirit, because again, being poor in spirit means willingly, wholeheartedly being willing to let go of those self-focused thoughts we often indulge. Not only to focus on ourselves when we're rather pleased with ourselves, but also the time that we just think about ourselves indulging a sense of failure. In both cases, we need to be willing to give away those preoccupations which are not about God, they're about us. The last thing I want to say from the Beatitudes is the meekness one. What can we say about being meek? Meekness can sound a bit feeble. The meek will inherit the earth if nobody else objects, that kind of thing. But I've read, and I have to hope it's true, that the word that's translated meek from the Bible is a word that can apply to the obedient readiness of a war horse. Well, we don't have many war horses nowadays, but I once heard a much better comparison, or much more vivid and effective one, and I forget who I borrowed this idea from, but they do deserve my gratitude. And the person, whoever they were, preached a sermon once saying that meekness could be regarded as an attitude that belongs to a sheepdog. A sheepdog, we all like sheepdogs, don't we? See, a sheepdog is gifted with quick intelligence, it's got speed, but it's also devoted to the shepherd. And it willingly puts those doggy gifts at the shepherd's disposal. If you've seen a sheepdog, and I expect most of you have, you'll know that they give every sign of enjoying life and reveling in the paths. Yet they're alert to what the shepherd wants, and they wait eagerly for the next command, and they wait when there isn't a command. The typical sheepdog isn't bullied or mistreated, but it wholeheartedly and willingly serves the shepherd and enjoys the relationship with the shepherd. Sounds rather nice, doesn't it? And as a thought that I'm going to leave you with, that if we just want to get a fresh understanding, a fresh perspective, a really joyous way of looking at how we might grow, what it might be like to be generous in our service to God and our service to others. Maybe we could all get in touch with our inner border collie.